Hello dear readers and subscribers. Artists thrive on connections. Every contact holds a potential opportunity for your art career, as your network and your contacts are almost as important as your artists. Not only is it essential to build these contacts actively throughout your career, even more important is to maintain them, to manage them, and to cultivate them. And this is where one of the most important and often forgotten documents comes into place: your central contact list. If you do not have a central contact list, then I strongly advise you to get started today. If you already have a mailing list and are sending out some newsletters, then that's already a great start. However, today we're going to talk about how you can optimize that contact list, how you can set it up in the best way possible to manage your contacts efficiently and effectively, and even more, how you can use it for your email marketing and also for your general networking strategies. Various other online art platforms would make you believe that you require one of their more expensive subscriptions where you need to pay them monthly to have an automatization software where you can send out thousands of emails to thousands of contacts. However, corporate email marketing strategies simply do not work for artists. Instead, we want to have a more personalized approach, as we'll be grouping various segments into different categories, opting for a different approach with every single category. That being said, it's time to get started with the first category of your central contact list. The first segment are, of course, your collectors. Collectors are crucial contacts for an artist. They can provide you financial support as they acquire your work. However, even more important, arguably, besides the short-term income, is the long-term strategy, as collectors are your biggest fans and can be true ambassadors for your work. They can vouch for you for new exhibition opportunities at other galleries, and most often those collectors have very good contacts as well. It is easier to keep your current collectors happy than to find new ones, so therefore a personal email marketing strategy is advised to build an ongoing relationship and regular contacts. And this is exactly the reason why they deserve a category on their own. You don't want to send them general invitations or corporate feeling newsletters. Instead, you want to give them early access to the catalogs of your upcoming shows, invite them in a more personal manner, thank them, and don't be too focused on generating sales. Focus on your relationship with them instead. Your collectors list does not only include clients from the past, but also potential clients. So make sure that you try to keep track of every single person who was interested in your art. And this is exactly the reason why in our article and video on how to sell art with your website, that we advise you to work with a button to request a catalog with available works instead of showing your prices in a webshop format. Because by doing so, if someone is genuinely interested, they need to reach out, and you can use that lead to potentially generate a sale in the foreseeable future. So if they don't purchase an artwork that very day, we can do it later on, perhaps after a couple of emails back and forth and some updates on some new work that you have prepared. It is advised to write down as much relevant information as possible for this segment, for instance, which work they have purchased or inquired for, what their Instagram account is, to include them regularly in your Instagram networking strategy, or some additional notes that might be useful for some small talk or a more personal segment in your email correspondence. For instance, that they have 2 kids and a dog, including their names. If you're unable to fill in every single aspect here in your central contact list, or if you would like to use our CAI central contact list template, then that's fine. You can simply leave them blank. The most important ones are their email address and then their Instagram account. The second segment are galleries, dealers, and art advisors. Here at CAI, as we have discussed in our video and article on career paths for artists, we pursue success in the highest realms of the art world, so this definitely includes galleries. They can provide you sales. They can also work on your resume, promote you as an artist, give you more press exposure, etc. Yet, all too often, artists seem to forget galleries in their central contact list and in their marketing strategies and networking. And if they do, most often they simply try to get as many email addresses from galleries and send them portfolios and other unsolicited submissions for an exhibition at their gallery. This is one of the most ineffective strategies for artists and is actually very much frowned upon in the art world. Your conversion rate will be almost 0%, and most often it is 0%. So instead, we're going to focus on a small but powerful selection of galleries, consisting of the galleries we have worked with in the past, galleries that we have visited in person and met someone who works there, preferably the director of course, and galleries that we are targeting or that are perhaps interested in you. For instance, if there are some local art galleries that are a good match for you, you can definitely write those down in your contact list, and especially the ones that, for instance, are following you on Instagram because they already gathered an interest in your work. Write them down and then you can include them in your network strategy to try and cultivate these contacts, and then at a later stage, after you have got in touch with them and that it becomes acceptable to send them an email, you can incorporate them in a more personalized email strategy for this segment of your contact list. You want to write these things down in your additional notes column so that you're aware of the current situation to adapt your networking strategy or communication methods. You should never send out emails out of the blue to galleries that you haven't worked with in the past or that you don't know well enough. The other galleries, the ones that you have worked with and the ones that you are in contact with, should also receive various updates on new projects, shows, news, etc. Aim to do this around 2 up to 4 times per year, but not more than 4. The more you remind them of you, the more likely you are to have another exhibition at their gallery. Up next, we have press, critics and curators. This is a segment consisting of individual writers, but also bigger online art magazines or art platforms. However, as with the previous section, we don't want to have a vast list of email addresses to send them out newsletters and press releases. Not only is it one of the most ineffective strategies that is also frowned upon by the art world, it is even illegal. So what does work? First and foremost, be aware that becoming a full-time art critic or art curator is often as difficult as becoming a full-time artist. So they are also in search of new contacts, new work and new things to write about. So they are open to meeting artists and building synergetic personal relationships with them. You can find authors who write for local art magazines or the magazines that are covering art in your area simply by having a look at their author mention below the title of the magazine. Write them down, find them on Instagram and try to connect with them. Go for critics who are within your niche and preferably also of a similar age. You can network with them first via Instagram and then later stage in real life as well. When it comes to the larger art platforms and magazines, instead of sending out a bulk email of your press release or of a portfolio, try to identify the ones that do accept submissions. And also write down their guidelines for submissions, because only when following them closely, you have a chance to get accepted. Up next, or second to last category, are other artists, your artist colleagues. When we're thinking about our career strategies, we always think in terms of who do we need to succeed. We need collectors, we need galleries, we need some press. However, artists can also be very, very powerful for your career. Even more, they are the biggest segment of the art world that is kind of on the same foot as you, so it's easier to connect with them. In fact, they should be the first contacts to engage with before you aim to get in touch with galleries and collectors that you do not know, because very often they can kind of be your entry ticket or stepping stone to enter those networks surrounding galleries and collectors. Other artists are people you can learn from, whom you can connect with, collaborate with. They can support you and you can support them. And by doing so, a synergetic artist-artist relationship can be one of the most powerful ongoing collaborations throughout your career. Artists can vouch for you, they can introduce you to new collectors, or they can suggest their gallery to include you in their upcoming show. Aim to network with artists that you generally like, and both from the perspective of their art as personally. Do not try to connect with blue chip artists just straight away, or neither will it be helpful to connect with artists outside of the art world. Instead, look for artists who are slightly above you so that you can grow with them. The final segment is family and friends. In a later stage, this segment will become less and less powerful. However, during the early days, this is the first and perhaps biggest segment of your contact lists. Always invite your friends and family to openings. The more, the merrier. And often there is someone who is interested in art, or is wealthy, or knows someone who is interested in art and is wealthy. However, in this case, a more personalized approach is a bit of overkill here, so you can simply send them your regular newsletter. Go through your contact list regularly. For instance, I advise you to do some Instagram networking twice a week. Take out your contact list and see with which galleries or artists you can connect. If you have an exhibition, then first you send a separate email to your collectors, you send a separate email to your galleries to inform them, and then you can send a regular email to your family and friends to invite them, to invite some other artists, and perhaps also go through the list of platforms to submit to. By doing so very efficiently and with a lot better conversion rate, you can manage all those different contacts and have the best chances for success. So feel free to create your own contact list with these 5 segments, or if you want to save some time, support our activities here at CAI to continue presenting these free tutorials and guides. You can also purchase our CAI Central Contact List templates. It is priced, as always, at the most modest price of just a coffee, and since yesterday we have also launched the complete package, a complete value bundle, in which all 10 tools, all 10 must-have tools to professionalize your art career are being bundled into a single pack. For an overview, make sure to go to contemporaryartistry.com, advice for artists, and explore all our career tools or services for artists. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Feel free to watch our video on professional invoicing for artists next. Support us on Patreon and please consider subscribing to stay posted for more contemporary art. Bye.